of your statement, aren't I right? And then it'll be in the form of a question. I want to therefore race through at the beginning some of the stuff I did at the Pentagon. And the reason I put it in this presentation is I think if you have one big customer, if you have a customer you're going for, whether that's a customer with a C or a customer with a B, if it's another business you're trying to build a relationship with, you really need to know who they are. You need to know their culture even, and how they got to where they are. In this case, I'm only talking about social media. There are a whole host of other ways to reach a customer or another business, but for this, because it's a social media conference, I'm just talking about social media in this case. The person I'm trying to reach here, one big customer, is the Defense Department. BAE Systems did in the last reporting year, almost $18 billion worth of business in the U.S. The overwhelming majority of that was with the U.S. Defense Department. When I arrived at the Pentagon, and once again, just understand the culture, so whoever you're going after, you need to understand their journey on social media, and I think it'll help inform you in your ability to reach out to them. When I arrived there, this was their website. It wasn't even called DoD or defense.gov, it was called defenselink.gov. Not sure why that was the name, but that was the name. So 8 weeks after I arrived, we changed the name of the website. I didn't ask permission. I always try to ask for apologies instead of permission. Can you imagine trying to ask for permission at the Defense Department to change the name of the website and how long that would take? So I changed it to DoD, Defense, Pentagon.gov, relaunched the website 8 weeks later, and this is what it looked like. That's not the same picture I had up there when I launched it. It didn't stay up there, it was rotating pictures. Tried to make it up to date. On the left-hand column, we added social media. So at this time, there is no social media policy at the Pentagon. When I did this, no social media policy. And so I decided to come at it from the point of view, if there's no policy, you get to do whatever you want, right? Because there's not a policy that says you can't do it. There's also not one that says you can, but I decided to go ahead and do it. So I put it out there, and it was amazing. It worked well. Then we decided to have a social media policy. We worked it fairly quickly, and as I alluded to before, it's less than one page substantively. It just says the switch is on. And this is the website now. And the reason I put this up here, it's a website, not a social media site, is because you'll notice you can't see any social media, links to social media sites on here anymore. We learned something after we did the previous website, this one here, with all the social media links. We were thinking we were going to build our social media following by having the social media sites there on the web page. But it might seem rather obvious to people in here. People don't go to social media sites from websites. They go to social media sites from social media sites. So we decided to save the space, make the images bigger. We do have social media links on here. They're at the bottom. You can't see them. They're not as important. We also wanted to allow everyone who had a social media site at the Pentagon to register it so that people would know it's an official one. So here's a look at some of the social media sites. There are thousands of social media sites at the Pentagon. And once again, if you're a company doing business with them, you need to know where they are. So there are lots of places. You really need to understand where those conversations are happening. Also, as a company, we need to go to their, follow them and engage in conversation with them on their Twitter sites, even their official ones. So this is the Army's. They have about 100,000 followers as of a couple weeks ago. The Navy, not so much, about 30,000. But the Army is 1.1 million strong. 1.1 million. Only 100,000 followers on Twitter. So what that tells me is there are a lot of people in the Army who aren't on the official Army site. So there are lots of other places, and I need to know where they are. And I'll tell you why in a moment. The Navy, same thing. The Navy's bigger than 30,000 people, I can tell you that. Also, they're on blogs. These conversations are happening about military hardware, military strategy, counterinsurgency versus counterterrorism discussion, which can impact what kind of tools they're going to need to fight the fight. Those conversations are happening in a whole host of places, most of them unofficial sites. So this blog here is a soldier's perspective. There's one called Black 5, it's a big one. Small Wars Journal is huge. Lots of conversations with active duty generals and colonels and others having conversations about what's going on in the challenges they face and how to deal with them. These are our official Twitter sites for the company. We take part in conversations on a whole range of issues. I'll be honest, mainly it's still, the official stuff is still push. It's not really engagement yet. It's still more of a traditional, it's not a press release in Twitter form, but it's not a whole lot better than that. But we're getting there. This is our Facebook, and for jobs. We get more job applicants via Facebook than we do any other way. It's not through newspaper ads anymore, or Monster, or Career Builder. The main way we get them is through Facebook now. Most of the people we're trying to hire, not most, a lot of people we're trying to hire are ex-military, or they have security clearances. So even if they weren't military, they were civilian, but they have security clearances. So we need to be where they are. This is where they are. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter. We need to reach out to them there, and we need to be there. We can't wait until we need them to go there. We have to have been there. We have to have an established relationship, an established presence online, so that when we do say something about jobs, that they trust us. The trust is already there, the credibility is already there. We also use it for campaigns, once again targeted at our customer. We are trying to give the Defense Department a new trainer for their jets. The ones they have now are 50 years old. And so this is part of our campaign to do it. Lots of imagery, lots of great content here, and great followers too. So you can see, one of the great things I like about social media is you know who's watching. You know, you can see at least if they say they are who they are. And if they're folks in the Pentagon, they almost always are. They're transparent. It says what their title is, what they do. All our people at BAE do that when they're on Twitter. No one has pseudonyms, or no one's hiding what they do. This is our YouTube site. I tried to send a link to a video to show. It's my fault, not the technical people's fault here. It's mine. But it was a 12-second video of an ejection seat test. It only lasts 12 seconds. It's had about 1 million views. And we thought about using it as a hiring campaign, be one of the first 10 people to test our ejection seat for the F-35. But my superiors said we shouldn't do that, because people actually might want to sign up for it. It's a pretty, if you should go on and look for F-35 ejector seat test. It's a fun, it's only 12 seconds, but it's a hell of a ride. And here's a key thing. This is my Twitter feed. Not the official company Twitter feed, but it has my title of who I am. Once again, not hiding who I am. Other people in the company do the same thing. I take part in a whole host of conversations. Always targeted at my customer. And you might not think so if you just come in for a little bit and look at it and go out, because I may say something about the Dallas Cowboys. Once again, I come to this from a communications background, not necessarily a social media background. So if you're in communications, you try to connect with someone. It's about relationships. It's about engagement. The same things are true on social media as they were, someone alluded to earlier about going to a bar or a cocktail party. You have to connect with someone. In this sense, it's not about dating or anything like that, but you have to have some sort of connection with someone. So if you throw out something there, about, looking forward to the Cowboys winning today, and the people who follow you or follow the Cowboys, or because they hate the Cowboys, that's usually what happens, because they hate the Dallas Cowboys, come on and say something, you've got them. The relationship is established. It might not be, at that point, a good relationship, but there's a connection there all of a sudden, right? They may follow you to see what else you're going to say. I also do these crazy workouts called CrossFit. Does anyone do CrossFit? Workout back there, CrossFit. They're these loopy, insane workouts that I learned when I was at the Pentagon that only 20 to 25-year-olds should do. But I'm male, and so we're always kind of 20 to 25, no matter what our real age is. And so I do this, so I'll put those up, get lots of comments. I push, and once again, the people, my customer, they're doing this too. They're being fit, and so they're there. I also push out and engage on green technology, sustainable issues, hybrid things. That gets a little closer to what I'm actually really trying to do. One of our products is hybrid. But I'm taking part in this broad conversation about sustainability, about national security, about the environment, and taking care of it. And all these things, I think, come together to influence my customer, the audience that I'm trying to reach. What next? I alluded to this a little earlier in my comments when I was on the panel. The website that we're going to launch is going to, our website at BAE Systems is about at the level of the website the Pentagon was at in 2009. I mean, if you go there, it's not pretty. And it's very UK-centric. It doesn't allow for a conversation to happen, here in the U.S. It kind of breaks, I think, one of the tenets of communications, which is know your audience. And so the new website will fix that. So in the U.S., it'll have an American feel, in the UK, and Saudi Arabia,